this what you are looking at is the criteria. So as you can see, domain 1 and domain 2 and domain 3. So first of all, I would like to talk about this one. And so if you take a look at this one, um, phenomenology critique. Uh, well, this is just title, okay? So there should be 0. Domain, domain 1, research team and reflexivity is also title. Number 3, personal characteristics. Regarding personal characteristics, uh, Professor Bear, point 1, and other students do not agree with this one, okay? So 3 students responded 0 here, and Professor Bear, uh, so okay, good. So what do you mean by so Professor Bear? You only point out this one as 1, okay? Personal characteristics, whereas other students responded 0. Why? What's the difference? Personal characteristics? Professor Beck, could you tell me what do you mean by that? Other students responded 0 and only you responded 1. Could you tell me which part you are talking about regarding personal characteristics? Yeah, domain 1, number 3.
Isn't number three the occupation? A personal characteristic number. Correct. Number three. The title is, according to my table, it's occupation, not the personal characteristics.
Okay, so under personal characteristics, interviewer, credentials, and occupation, talking about interviewer, uh, 4 students agree that in some way the article addressed about this one, okay? And credentials, most of you agree that there is a credential there, and Professor Bear didn't respond here. No credentials. So my question goes to Jiang Yuan. When we say credentials, could you read aloud the credential part that you called?
First, PhD RN Department of Nursing, Institute of Health Science, College of Medicine, Incheon University, Busan, South Korea, School of Social Welfare, Yonsei University, Seoul, South Korea. Number 2, PhD Department of English Language and Literatures, Fugyeong National University, Busan, South Korea. Oh, we lost the part.
So how many researchers were there? 6, right? So 6 researchers' credentials were provided here, okay? And so 3 of the students agree that 6 credentials appeared there, okay? And occupation. Regarding occupation, again, 3 students agree that their occupation. Mostly, they are professors or researchers in Yonsei University. Okay. Talking about gender part here. Uh, well, gender is title. Okay. So it should be zero. And under gender, we can expect the female and male. And female were four. There were four and four, three. Wujung, Wujing,
Yeah.
Wujing.
Yeah.
You responded three. What do you mean by that? There were four females and two male, and you responded three female. What do you mean by that?
So I think uh, the Yu Jong Kang and Yang Jong Choi they are female male.
Because you are not Korean, so you are not familiar with the name of the Koreans. Okay. Anyway, there were four females. Okay, and two male. So including myself and the Choi Young-jun. He's a male professor at Yonsei University. Social welfare department. Okay, so under the gender we have four female, two male. Okay, four two. So Wu Jing, you were confused about the name of the scholar there. Okay, let's move on to the experience and training. Uh, again, uh, three students responded like that, but there is a zero from Professor Beck. And relationship established. All of you agree that in some way the relationship has been established. So I don't see any discrepancies here. Number seven, participant knowledge of the interviewer. Again, why zero? Participant knowledge of the interview. Okay, then my question goes to John. Could you point out the number seven according to your analysis in the given article as to participant knowledge of the interviewer? You said two codings are there, and could you read aloud that for us, John, please?
The first is interviews were conducted in August and September 2018. Prior to the interviews, participants were provided with general information pertinent to the study, including its purpose, topic, process, duration, and schedule of the interviews. Number two is the day prior to the interviews. This information was again provided to the participants via text message.
Okay.
That's two.
Uh, let's move on to the interview characteristics. John, you responded zero here, whereas Wu Jing,
Yeah.
you responded two. So could you read aloud the interview characteristics that you coded there?
Yeah, the first one is a little bit longer. So should I read all of it?
Try to reach the whole capacity.
Yeah,
Read.
read all of this. Okay. So the first one is to answer the research question. Internet cafes posting and in-depth interviews with two working mothers were obtained as primary sources of data. However, in the findings section, the results of the analysis of in-depth interview data seem to be weakly presented to show the characteristics of their participants and the study, thus leading to a partial picture of the participants. Number two is the study explores the reasons why working mothers of dual-income families rely on the private sectors to maintain their careers without using state-funded public child care system to nurture their children.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the domain two, study design. Uh,
Teacher, I have a question. I put the number eight interviewer characteristic as zero. The number eight that we treated just before. Number eight, my calculation is zero because in this article there was no guidance on the characteristics of the interviewer. The the two example that the students that have read is about the characteristics of the interviewees, not
Interviewee,
interviewer.
yes.
And so I was a little bit confused at the beginning. There are some explanation on the characteristics of the interviewees about the participants, but there was no explanation about the characteristics of the researchers. Then does it mean that correct standard require us to, when we write the qualitative research paper, we have to provide the information about the researcher? Is it, am I understanding rightly about that?
Talking about the characteristics, research wise, maybe the role could be the best thing here. So the researchers addressed who analyzed what, which part, they took care of it. Okay, for example, for my case, data analysis, writing up and things like that, or study design and things like that. So as far as the interviewers' characteristics are concerned, I think such kind of researcher's role
Yes.
is a good example. So, in the given article, if you take a look at it, uh, it describes the researcher's roles there. Okay, so that belongs to this categorization, as far as I understand.
If the role of the researchers has been assigned and it is explicitly explained on the kind of first or second page, then I should assume that that is the information relevant to the characteristics of the interviewer. I thought characteristics should be something about our personality. So I was looking for some explanation or sentence that explains personality or the way they think of the interviewer researchers.
Why do you think? Why do you think researcher's personality matters here?
So
Why?
that is why I am asking a question about that. Why?
Well, in terms of qualitative stance, we see it as the researcher's position. Okay, so who am I? What kind of person am I? What kind of thinking line is important. So talking about characteristics is more like related to the research in general. So it could be researchers' belief on the research methodology or things like that.
The researchers' academic interest field.
So for some qualitative researchers, they really emphasize to pose the researcher in a position, okay, and tell the reader who the researcher is, not in terms of personality or things like that, but in terms of uh, angle of the research in general. So talking about qualitative research, researcher stance are quite different. For example, phenomenologists tend to believe that the intersubjectivity matters a lot. if you conduct case study, uh, data triangulation matters a lot. So like that way, who the researcher is really matters a lot in terms of his way of viewing the world. Okay, his philosophy and things like that. But for this case, because this is looking for a practical things, uh, the theoretical framework or I think philosophical stance may not be that much an issue here. It's more like social science based. So try to solve the problem based upon the phenomena that they are looking at. And so intersubjectivity matters here a lot, but I don't think when we say interview characteristics, I don't think we are talking about researchers' personality or things like that. So that's why I told you it's more like research geared notion. And so in the given article, the researcher pointed out about the qualitative research methodology in general, but try not to directly talk about the phenomenology. Uh, if we are talking about phenomenology, it's more like theoretical and philosophical stance matters a lot. Okay, and so theoretical framework. Talking about theoretical framework, number nine, I think when I combine, when I merge your assignment, the way you gave me was quite different from one student to the other. So I tried to make it the same base and things like that. It took a lot of time and effort though. But anyway, what you are looking at is exactly matched together, okay? And so talking about, basically there are 32 points that we need to think about. And so if you take a look at this one, experience and training right here, study design, theoretical framework. Um, Talking about theoretical framework, the researcher addressed that qualitative research methodology there. So the researcher obviously pointed out the fact, but why you Wuzhang or Zhang, why don't you think that theoretical framework was not that mentioned here. Again, a methodological orientation and theory practice selection, all right here. Uh, okay, I guess those belong to the just title, okay? And so it should be zeroed altogether. But for this one, talks about methodological orientation and theory participant selection. You obviously agree that the researcher mentioned this issue in the given article. Sampling, talking about sampling, okay, addressed here. And method of approach one, and Professor Bear, why you don't think method of approach was not mentioned here?
My number for the method of approach is one, not the zero.
So in the process of merging yours and others, maybe the number has been going down or the
Maybe
yes.
there
So
must have been some
so
misleading.
three students used the same format here, and For your case, as you said in the mail, you just try to sort the numbering here, but your number and other students' numbers were different, so that's why it's really hard to match together. And in the process of it, the number here has been going downward or
It has to be
forward
up or
or
downward.
downward. So
Okay.
it's more like cut and paste and things like that.
Anyway,
So
my calculation is
okay,
fine.
and so for now, if that's the case, then just I have to delete your analysis and so
Okay.
let's take a look at this. Okay, Kim Soo-jung went to Chesa, Chang, and Wu Jing, and so okay. Uh, so for sampling method of approach mentioned well here, sample size, okay, and non-participant setting. Uh,
Sure.
yeah, Zhang, you responded 0 here. Non-participant setting. If this is not non-participant setting, then what that could be?
All the participants joined the interview and finished their work, I think.
So what's the difference between participant and non-participant observation then?
Mm, in the interview, the participant may take part in the whole process or half or right away drop it. There are three kinds of presence, I think, participant.
Well, this study is obviously non-participant setting because the researchers were not involved with the participants in their setting, daily lives. Rather than involving their lives, they just invite them and ask the questions.
Yeah.
So obviously this is a non-participant setting, although the researcher did not directly stated about it. Obviously, clearly we can see that there were no observation here. Okay, just the interview, answer invitation, interview, and that's it. Okay, so obviously this is the case of the non-participant observation. Okay, setting of data collection mentioned here. Three students agreed, and presence of non-participants. Wu Jing,
Yeah.
you responded 0 here. You couldn't find it. Then how about Zhang Yuan? Could you read aloud the coding for number 15, presence of non-participants?
An assistant moderator observed and recorded the atmosphere and the participants' nonverbal responses. I think this part she only to write down the notes and record. She doesn't join the interview.
Okay, that could be a good example rather than intervene or like that. Try to take a note and things like that. So it could be an example of the presence of non-participants. Okay, and description of sample data collection. were well stated. Three of you agreed on that. And interview guide, okay, no problem at all. Repeat interview. There was no repeat interview at all. Okay, good. Audio visual recording, yes. And field notes, yes. And duration, it talks about the time span and things like that. Okay, and data saturation. Well, data saturation was clearly mentioned here. Transcripts returned. Uh, Well, Zhang Yuan found number uh, 23, whereas Wu Jing responded 0. Then Zhang Yuan, could you read aloud the example of the number 23 where transcript returned?
It has a member check with one working method, so I think it's a kind of transcript return.
Right. Member check could be a good example because, once you collect the data and code the data, then you have to select one of your participants to take a look at it to get the validity of the study. Okay. And so rather than giving full transcription, um, usually we provide the finding section, okay? Finding section, and show the finding section to the participant, one of the participants, and check if that makes sense or not. And if there is weird things or not true things, then negotiation or sharing idea is also available, possible, okay? And so let's move on to domain 3, analysis findings, data analysis. Because this is title, 0 is obvious, okay? Number 24, number of data coders. Sure, mentioned here. So I was the prime recorder, and then two researchers joined later, okay? And so we talk about the who coded first and who coded secondly or thirdly, and after all the coding is done, how many times we met and things like that, okay? So description of the coding tree, uh, why? Why Sujam, she's right now in here, believe zero? No? Do you think so? Do you agree with her? Zhang Yuan, you respond once. Could you read aloud the example of that one?
Here I choose the data were coded by inductive, bottom-up, and grounded ways.
Right. And Ambivo is the suitable. Ambivo is the ideal tool for doing that, okay? Okay, so if she didn't go to JESA, she may learn about something new here, but poor about Sujong. Uh,
Then the fact that the research used the NBO program, does it mean that it had some section for the coding tree?
right, so the structure of the MBO is exactly like bottom up, grounded, and inductive approach. So uh, you code without rule at all. You just look at the data and then code and code and code. So normally when we code first time, it's gonna be 1,000 codings there, and we merge and merge and merge and merge, and so finally we reach the research question. So compared to quantitative study where they start with the research hypothesis. Uh, we don't have any hypothesis to test, but we just try to find out the rules in the field. So that's why we call it as an inductive approach.
And is it, I wonder how the process is going. There were three quarters for this research, right? Then are the three quarters begin coding at the same time, or are the coding takes place on a sequential basis?
First of all, I coded first, and so I code them all of the data. And then two researchers joined the discussion, look at the finding, and then we jump into the individual data, individual theme, sub-themes, and the themes, and we discuss, we talk about the relevancy of the coding and things like that.
And
So
your first,
I code, first of all, I coded, I draw a whole picture, okay? I coded about 1,300 for this case. And then two researchers joined and look at the tree, the coding tree, and we share our ideas, okay? And so it should go down or it should be removed or things like that by reading aloud the raw data.
then first quarter's coding is finalized, and with the code system, the additional two researchers will join the discussion,
Right,
and they can give some suggestion on the first your code.
right. So reason why three is because of the validity. So when we talk about validity, we need three. Okay, so that's why I was the initial or primary coder, and Gian and who else was the secondary, the third coder. They coded as well, but they did not code something new, but they just take a look at the code that I created and check if that makes sense or not. And so we went into the individual data one by one, okay, based upon
My question came from the concept of IRCR, inter-rate code reliability. So I was wondering how the different three persons, if they coded differently, how do their codes be kind of in the same framework?
in Ambivo, if you would like to measure integrated code reliability, there is a way of doing that, okay? And so in English education, for example, Rather Alice suggests that for the case of writing, uh, maybe you create codes about a specific writing, and then 1 month later, maybe you can pick up 30 writing samples and you code again. And then in Ambivo, it shows the iterated code reliability, automatically measure iterated code reliability. That could be example of a single researcher. And if you really would like to have more than two, so if you really would like to code and create the integrated reliability, obviously you can do it in Ambivo. So whole data is there, and research A, B, C can code individually and merge their coding results, okay? And see, in it's a kind of skill, just skill, okay? If you would like to use the Ambivo, you can do it. You can simply do it. But it's kind of the it's quite different from Jiang and other researchers did in the study because in terms of inter-rater code reliability, we did not use MVivo, but we just have it's sort of a different way of member check, okay? And so primary coder presented the idea, the codings, and then two other researchers read it, discuss it, and rename the code, coding, and things like that. So what I'm trying to get at is integrated code reliability uh, doesn't matter a lot if you conduct the phenomenology, okay? Phenomenology. If you're talking about the integrated code reliability, we talk about the uh, objectivity, not subjectivity. Okay, so if you prefer to look at the objectivity, where like rather Alice suggests, a single researcher can even possibly do it, not necessarily three, but one. So that depends upon the research context, and not all qualitative researchers seek for integrated code reliability.
I thought the inter-rate code reliability cannot take place because the coding is the thing that takes place each coder's mind. So it will follow their subjectivity or bias or tendency. So it's not like the inter-rater kind of the reliability that is relevant to the quantitative data. This is qualitative research. So there I saw a section mentioning about the inter-rater quality reliability, and it in the paper it mentioned the kind of statistic number the calculated by the NVIDIA program. So I was wondering why this explanation has to be placed here, even though it is not a quantitative research.
What we are looking at is the, I think types of questions. Types of question matters a lot. If you would like to look at the definition of the happiness from one person to the other, obviously objectivity doesn't matter at all. But if you are interested in your students' writing development, normally the codings, the codes for writing is quite objective, not subjective. Okay? If you assess your students' writing, you do have to have a rubric there, okay?
Grading rubric.
You cannot simply say, well, it sounds good, it feels good, or things like that. You have to provide the data, the evidence, okay? So that's why the rubric matters a lot. So suppose that you are not interested in understanding about the happiness, the definition of happiness, but you would like to take a look at your students' writing development from four different series of writing in terms of assessment. What you have to do is the not subjective but very objective criteria there. And so if your code is such kind of things, you do need inter- iterative reliability. You know what I mean? So for the case of error analysis, let's say student makes a lot of errors there, okay?
Then in our article about emo, is your first coded system kind of make a role to be a reference list for the other two
Okay, let
coders?
me open up the MVivo again and let me show you. the case of intersubjectivity, the inter-rater code reliability. Normally, when I do inter-rater code reliability, even with Ambivo or other others, is the writing, okay? And so let me just show you an example here. Writing one. So as you can see here, the number refers to the errors that the student made, okay? And on what basis? I need a criteria, okay? I need a criteria. And this is more like a very objective based coding. So usually if you take a look at the coding here, error analysis from writing here. The most frequently errors here, meaning blah blah blah, global blah blah blah, local blah blah blah. These are talking about the, not to mention the grammatical errors, but meaning or organization and things like that. Okay, and so here when we say uh, right here, and so writing sample is here. And so when we assess students' writing, open this up, and then what I do is open up the code, okay? And then let's open this up, or and so right here, you can see what types of error this one belongs to and things like that, space and things like that. So I code them like that, okay? I just select one and I put this one into these errors, okay? And so for the case of this one, uh, interrater reliability is essential because there is a very objective criteria rubric is here. So perhaps I can code like that, and then I ask one of my colleagues to do it again, and then in Ambivo, what we do is ask Ambivo to do the integrated code reliability, and what it shows is like R equal 0.07 or things like that. Well, this is all about the integrated code reliability, but the whole point is, well, this is quite far away from the phenomenology, okay? What phenomenology is getting at is not the objectivity, but intersubjectivity, okay? There is subjectivity and there is objectivity, and what phenomenologists would like to do is try to get the meaning from participant and oneself through interaction. So if they don't understand about something, ask the participants, like, what does that mean to you? So if you take a look at the, sorry. So let me go to qualitative research and MBO there. And so regarding your question, I will go back to that one later, okay? And let me finish the today's discussion first, okay? And so data analysis, number of data coders, they mentioned there, description and derivation of times, okay, obviously mentioned there. Using software, talks about in vivo, and participant checking, reporting. Member check is one example there. And uh, quotation presented, yes, you see a lot of quotations there, okay, as an example of the evidence, data and findings consistent. So, two students responded mostly quite uh, consistent, but one. So, Zhang Yuan, why do you think the data? Why do you think that the data and finding is not that greatly consistent?
I just found one, and then I start to look for more.
Okay. And clarity of the major themes, clarity of minor themes. So it's more like theme and sub theme and things like that. So as you can see, there are four parts there. Under it, a lot of the sub themes were there. Okay, and so well, I think that's it for the your assignment. And let me move on to the MBO here. So critiquing phenomenology, you did this part here, and uh, today what we are gonna do is finding out themes, English and Korean version right here, and let me show you the course course schedule here. Talking, we are here in the middle exam session, and so finding our themes start from here. And next week we don't have a class, uh, and then on the 10th week we will meet again, talking about proposal. Okay, uh, and the due date for your hand in your finding out themes is right here on the 10th week, okay? And so I think this is a really important issue here, this discussing on writing a proposal, because students found it very difficult to write a proposal in their department. I see many cases where students kept on telling me that they are gonna write a proposal to graduate, but it took year, 2 years, or 5 years, or for some cases 10 years. Later, with gray hair, they come to see me. And again, I really would like to start again. So, proposal. If you really would like to write a proposal, uh, there is kind of ways of doing it, okay? And so this one relates to the EndNote assignment, okay? EndNote assignment talks about the way you collect the data, the way you ask yourself, and how you manage your reference to support your claim or to reject your claim. I know one student missed the end note assignment, and I kept on contact the student that I need her assignment, okay? But she ignored my mail. And so I don't think she's gonna be a good writer and researcher in terms of writing a proposal, because she has no idea of how to search and find the right data and manage them effectively. And I think that's her choice. Jesa is important, and so everything, okay, except this class. So that's her choice. And so, as you can see, we don't have much time because by 15th week, presentation on your research proposal is due here. So you only have, let's see, if we start here, if you, we are going to have a general discussion here, and I'm going to let you know how and things like that, and the relevant data in en vivo. And then you have a chance to, first of all, search the articles that is relevant for you. And then if you take a look at the en vivo here, if you look at the research proposal here, it talks about the most effective way of writing a research proposal. So it defines research proposal, the critical element of research proposal and things like that, and the format and things like that. What you have to do is to follow this one. So which is more important, which is critical, like research type, source, research methods, participants, hypothesis, you're not gonna have this one. So in terms of writing a proposal, what you have to do is to follow what this one said, okay? And so it talks about very practical issues right here, budget and things like that. So I strongly urge you to be familiar with this one, to write a research proposal. Other than that, you cannot write a proposal simply think about it and write it. I don't think that happens a lot. And so you have to follow this one, okay? And if you follow this one, your student advisor will be much more happier than before and let you graduate as soon as possible. And if you don't, well, the research proposal, including paper, dissertation, is your job, not your student advisor's job. Okay, you have to get a right guideline here, like this one. Well, this could be an example. Okay, so maybe simply you can just follow this one. Okay, and so. Having said that, today what I'm gonna do is finding out themes, okay? So how you could possibly find out the themes. So finding out the themes, well, this one is about exactly, if you take a look at the actual data, uh, let me open up the critique exercise paper. So your target is this one, okay? Your target is this one, okay? So for the case of the this study, this one theme, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and things like that, okay? And so well, this one started as the coding, and then coding and coding and coding and coding, and merge and things like that. So the final destination is here. So when you hand in your coding results, it's kind of so simple one, okay? So it's like just a click skill. And so uh, I'm gonna let you know how to do it later, but for now, uh, we have to go to here and open up the raw data here first of all, to code. Okay, I think it's a good idea to have a 10-minute break and meet again. So this is the 6:58. So 10-minute break. 7:10. 7:10. We will meet here 7:10.